Just today, I've made approximately $7,000 through Snapchat shows. Now, please keep an open mind. I know the majority of you guys are going to call cap, and you're well within your right. The majority of finance gurus here on YouTube are just completely full of crap. They don't know what they're talking about. They're trying to sell you a course. First part of this video is this is for the 1%. I could make this extremely edited and get the point across to more people, but I really want to target this video as a pure, raw, unedited video on exactly how you can execute what I've done. I've made approximately $2.6 million at the age of 18. And now I'm 19, so I'm sharing all the secrets. Let me get right into it. Snapchat shows are a completely closed off platform. And just today, we've done about $7,000 in sales. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then I have 3 more on another agency, which I'll also show you. Now, every one of these shows varies, but on average, it's about, if we're going to be very conservative per show, $600 a day. Now, when we times that by about 13, you get to about $7,000 in my currency every single day. And the best part about all of this is I don't do much. Now, let me start off by saying nobody will ever tell you the secret to Snapchat shows besides me. I'm sharing everything in today's video. And it's really just going to be a pure video on exactly how I was able to do it at the age of 17, which is when I actually acquired my portal. Now, when it comes to Snapchat shows, it's a completely closed off platform, right? Please keep in mind, you might want to watch this till the end because nobody else is ever going to give you this information. It's a completely closed off platform that gives creators upwards of a $10 CPM for every 1,000 views. Now, CPM is not RPM. Snapchat takes 50%, 50%. So if you have a $10 CPM, you're getting a $5 payment from Snap for every 1,000 views. Now, keep in mind, these videos are only 3 minutes long, even 2 minutes if you want. Now, this has never been possible in the history of content creation. 2-minute 1080p, like 1080 by 1920, short form content with a $5 RPM is impossible. On YouTube, the RPM is about 25 cents for shorts, but obviously it's way easier to get a YouTube channel than it is to acquire a Snapchat show just because you can create an infinite amount. But I know the big question is, how do I get a Snapchat show? It is completely gatekept, and I will tell you now, they do not approve shows anymore, and they haven't for the last 1.5 years. It is very gatekept and extremely hard. My advice would be to not get into it at all, but for those who really want to, I'm going to be telling you the exact blueprint on how you can acquire them, because obviously that is a very big part about what I do for my business, because I do acquire shows quite often. But YouTube automation is still by far the best thing to get into. Watch all my previous videos if you want to learn about that. But for those who are interested, let me go ahead and tell you exactly how to acquire some Snapchat shows for yourself. Now, the one way to do it, which is realistically the only way that it's possible, is to outreach to agencies. Now, what this means is for everybody that wants to post on Snapchat, you need to be a part of an agency. So I actually acquired my own agency by reaching out to Snapchat employees. And as you can see, I have a crazy amount of shows. I mean, this one here, Jittered Gaming, is doing about $10,000 a month if I was to go check. Yeah, $10,000 every single month. And if we go to the last 3 months, which we only acquired this show 3 months ago, $38,000 in revenue. Food Central, which is one of our memes shows, that one makes about $10,000 a month. We only converted it from food to memes recently. It's done about $25,000 in the last 3 months, which by no means is bad. I mean, I don't have to do any work for this. But yeah, as I was saying, I acquired my own portal by reaching out to Snapchat reps. Now, if you do this route, you do it on LinkedIn, on email, you just find Snapchat reps and say, hey, I'm a content creator, I really want to acquire a portal. Now, this used to work, but please keep in mind, you can't get shows approved anymore. So even if you manage to acquire your own portal, it's quite pointless and doesn't really do much for you outside of contacting other orgs and, networking and stuff like that. So it's pretty pointless. But one way you can acquire a show is either A, reaching out to agencies and buying it off them, offering them, for example, $50,000 for one show, which is the route that I would definitely not recommend. Or the alternative route would be reaching out to agencies and being like, hey, we've run numerous shows in the past and scaled them to 6 figures or even more than that. If you're interested, I'd love to hop in a meeting and maybe run your show for equity. Now, you might be saying, how do I find agencies, right? That's probably the big question, but it is a very hard thing to do. I will tell you now. Obviously, if you aren't familiar with Snapchat shows, what they are is when you go on the Snap feed and you scroll right, you'll see a bunch of little 1080p stories on, Snapchat and stuff like that. Those shows that you'll see, if you head over to the shorts feed, you might be able to find some dead ones. By dead, I mean shows that are posting maybe once every month that aren't very active. But what they will have is sometimes the email addresses of the agencies associated with them, or a way to contact them. Now, I will tell you, 1 in every 100 shows will have this. It's going to be very hard, but if you do manage to get even just one, that's a guaranteed $5,000 or even more for you. A split that I would aim for would be about 50-50. That's probably the ideal split to get. But when it comes to shows, it's very gatekept. Now, you can also do public profiles in Spotlight, which are actually, I have some insider info. Spotlight is going to be open to everybody to monetize the same way shows do in about June. So keep in mind for that. That is going to be awesome and game changing for the content creator space as a whole. But one thing with Snapchat shows is, let's say you've managed to get your own, you've managed to work out a 50-50 split, and the agency will obviously pay you. You want to have a contract in place. I can leave a template down below if that really is helpful for some people. Let me know if you want that. Comment down below and I'll definitely include that. But one thing with Snapchat shows that is different from every single other platform on all of content creation is that you are instantly monetized, meaning you don't need to get 4,000 watch hours, 3,000 watch hours, anything like that. As soon as you get a show, you are straight away monetized. This show, for example, Rapwave, was one of our news shows a few years ago. It still makes money, like it's still doing about $10,000 a month, but nowhere near what it was doing back in its prime. And are you ready to have your mind blown? Back in 2023, if we filter it by that, we were doing $191,000 in 1 month. Now, if I want to blow your mind even more, let's go a little bit further back. We did $226,000 in 3 months. Now, the gold part about all of this is that we had 4 of these, so 4 Goliath shows. Biggest on Snapchat, absolutely printing. And the best part is it's still possible to this day, and it's still extremely good. Now, a lot of people that do flex Snapchat revenue will lie. I'm not going to name names, but I'm sure you know the kid who made $600,000 on Snapchat. Now, I will say, Snapchat takes 50%, so you're left with 300K. He had a partner who took 50%. He's left with 150K. And then the agency that he worked with took about 20%. So he was left with, like, after everything, 120K. Still fantastic, but a very far cry from the 600K. Still amazing, though. I'm not going to hate, but one thing I do have to emphasize is that you get instantly monetized. I mean, I don't know a single other platform where you could kind of say the same thing. It just doesn't really exist on social media. And the fact that we're able to this is a brand new show we just got, by the way, only a few days ago, I believe, and we've started doing news on it. It is January, which kind of sucks. So if we go back, right, we finally started getting a crap ton of views. Look, it was doing nothing. We got it 92,000 impressions in 1 day in the news niche. This should have been making a good $1,000 a day. But unfortunately, as you guys know, our CPM, which is obviously how much we're paid per 1,000 views, went down from $17, $10, stuff like that, all the way down to like $2 to $3 during January. Obviously, because we're in Q1, meaning advertisers are willing to spend less to place ads on your content. So it does suck, but in the next few months, I'm going to give you guys an update. This show, we're printing $100,000 a month. Just watch. It's going to be pretty crazy. But yeah, on average, it's doing about $240 a day. So, you know, if we were to do 50% of that, we're probably getting about $100 a day, which definitely isn't bad considering we started 4 days ago. But one more thing, and which is the final thing I do really want to shed some light on. YouTube over Snapchat, scalability wise. Now, I know Snapchat sounds like sunshines and daisies and that it's this amazing thing that everybody should get into because it's so easy. But the point I'm trying to make is that I milked it for all it was worth. We made millions of dollars from Snapchat, but the thing is, it's definitely still worth getting into. I know there's 1% of you guys that are actually going to implement what I say. Subscribe, by the way, if you haven't already. But only 1% of you guys are actually going to use what I'm telling you right now, which is completely fine because I want that 1% to succeed. But what I need to emphasize is that YouTube is far better than Snapchat in literally every way, shape, and form. I mean, for starters, with Snapchat shows, if you were to have 100 of them, which mind you, I know a few people personally that still have like 200 Snapchat shows, and let me just say they're making like $4 million a month. It is freaking disgusting how much money some of these people make. But one thing I really need to emphasize is that YouTube is far more scalable than Snapchat. Imagine having 200 shows on Snap. You'd be making millions, right? But the realistic point I'm trying to make is that most people struggle to even get 5. 5 is a lot of money. But on YouTube, for example, the revenue might be 10 times less, but you can create and scale an insane amount more than you would be able to on Snapchat. So you really need to outweigh the two and be like, well, yeah, I can do a Snapchat show, or I can run an automated channel that's going to make a bit less. Obviously, it still makes a crap ton. YouTube is insane at the moment. Like, you can get upwards of $1 CPM or $1 RPM, I should say, on short form content with a music deal and, a good English demographic. US, UK, Australia, really good first world countries. But with Snapchat, on the other hand, you can get a $5 RPM, right? But you risk termination. One massive factor about Snapchat shows, as you might be able to see here, wherever it says publishing disabled and stuff like that, that basically means that Snapchat just banned our show. Like, I had shows that were doing $150,000 a month, and Snapchat was like, no, you don't deserve to exist anymore, and they just completely blacklisted our shows. Whereas on YouTube, it's a lot more long-term, and you really don't have to fear every single morning waking up knowing, oh my God, is all my stuff banned? Now, one thing I can tell you is that ChatGPT is the future for doing long-form content, even short-form content on YouTube. It is absolutely ridiculous how easy it is, but let me show you exactly what I mean. You may have seen these criminal channels, and you might think, wow, these channels are so difficult to make. So, for example, Dr. Insanity. I mean, I'm friends with this guy. I know who he is. He's a really good guy, but he is doing about 31 million long-form views a month. Now, on this content, the RPM is about $7. We're not counting sponsors, nothing like that. But presuming the RPM is $7, which we know it is, he's doing about 217,000 USD every single month. And I know you might be thinking, well, how am I going to copy someone doing that much? And one word of advice and kind of point that I try and preach upon everyone that works with me and does my mentorship one-on-one, which is also linked in the description, that is very high ticket. One thing I kind of preach is that try and do 10% of whatever channel you're trying to copy. So if they're doing 220K a month, that's the perfect candidate for a channel you should be trying to copy and replicate. And even if you only expect to do 10 or even 5% of their revenue, it's still incredible. Now, with this content specifically, you may think it's incredibly hard to do, but it actually isn't. One little trick I'm going to teach you is how to exactly get these criminal footage. I know a lot of people have been asking me, well, I know crime is a huge niche on YouTube, but how do I actually acquire the footage and, get copyright-free content? Now, one thing you will notice is when criminals realize, I'm just going to look it up and just show you some channels that do this type of content. Obviously, there are so many now. I have friends that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars from doing this new criminal type content. Let's go ahead and filter it by this week so we kind of get some new content. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is show you exactly how to do this. You see these channels that do, for example, when parents realize their kids are actually killers. Like, everybody is doing this exact method, right? You see this little orange triangle in the top right? You might think, oh, it's just their watermark. Who cares? No, it's not. One thing, every single one of these criminal channels steals their videos. Now, obviously, the voiceover and the script is completely them. But if you head over to this channel here called Code Blue Cam, it's essentially a document or like a kind of a documentary channel where they upload full-on criminal clips. So why going to the mall after escaping police was the worst idea ever. Let's say you wanted to copy that video. All you would have to do is go on the video and just skip to the intro. We don't care about the intro, right? And look, it's all of a sudden, it is just pure criminal footage that you can go ahead and copy yourself. All you have to do is go on a YouTube MP4 downloader, go ahead and grab the footage, blur out their little Code Blue Cam. There's a few ways you can go about this. You can either replace it with your watermark or just blur it a little bit. No one's going to be able to tell the difference. You can see this channel kind of did it. They have good editors, so they were able to blur it a little bit. But you might be able to see right there, the grass looks a little bit distorted. And the reason for that is because these guys are completely just stealing their content. Now, you can't get copyrighted. That's the golden part about all of this. You literally can't get copyrighted because this is public domain. It is owned by the police department. They can't get rid of it. It's used in documentaries. It's used in movies. You are completely free to use this. So all you have to do is download the link, go into a YouTube MP4 downloader, download the video, press convert, get that content. Go ahead, and even if you want to just head over to 11 Labs, I'm going to show you exactly how to do this now. 11 Labs is, I'm sure a lot of you know, the best site to use for AI voiceovers. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just show you how easy this is. So we're going to go ahead and just say, here are 5 times criminals got caught red-handed. Now, I haven't done any work. This is purely just a test, but listen to how crazy this is.
Here are 5 times criminals got caught red-handed.
Now, I wouldn't say that voice is amazing, but obviously there are a few others here on 11 Labs.
Here are 5 times criminals got caught red-handed.
Obviously, there's a crazy amount of really good voices that are actually quite indistinguishable from real voices. So go here, get the script, just kind of rip it if you have to. Copy somebody else's script, but obviously change it up a little bit. As long as you're changing the voices, your only expense for a channel like this, which is making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, your only expense is thumbnails and editing, both of which I'm pretty confident you could get if you wanted to do per video for about $50 a video, which is really realistic, and you can be posting daily. Sure, it does take some investment and commitment, but you can be absolutely printing and be even close to 10% of this is still $20,000 every single month completely passively. And once you've got that capital coming in, go ahead and keep reinvesting it into different channels and different channels. It is that easy. Now, obviously, as I said before with Snapchat, you can go ahead and try that route as well. Both of these are very, very easy ways to go ahead and scale on YouTube. Now, as I said, when it comes to crime channels like this, try and aim to have 2 videos in one. So if you can find content that kind of works on that CodeWatch channel, or Code Blue Cam, sorry, where you can get 2 videos, put it into one and make it a 50-minute video, that will increase your RPM from about $3.50 to upwards of $7. Place an ad every 30 seconds, and there you go. You've completely automated the channel just like that, and you're going to be absolutely printing. Now, obviously, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap everything up now. I know only about 1% of you are probably going to watch till the end, and that's fine. I want the 1% of you guys that do watch to succeed. I will never sell a course. I want that to be abundantly clear. I have a mentorship where I work one-on-one with clients, but once again, that is very high ticket. If you are interested, the link to it is blakeryan.co. Now, yes, guys, without further ado, I will see you all later. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure to subscribe.